The entire Bitcoin community gathered in Miami for an epic conference, and as is tradition, that meant price had to go down and continue going down. Miami is becoming an absolute curse for Bitcoin. Hopefully that won't be the case of every conference, since apparently there's some sort of conference every single week. But I had an amazing time in Miami. As you can see, I am slightly lacking in voice as a result. Put in about 30 podcasts in 3 days we recorded. I don't think I stood up for more than 7 minutes at a time, and I lost about 6 pounds. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. We're going to talk about everything that's happening in the news. I have an amazing guest today, Kantorovich, who I didn't see in Miami, strangely, but I would have thought that I would have. But we're going to talk about everything that's happening in the news, why Bitcoin continues to disappoint, what that means in a macro sense, and God, I have no idea. Probably a whole lot of other things. Let's go.
Let's go.
What is up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of Wall Street. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel. And I mean, if you're me, just put your head down and take a nap on the like button. Pain. I didn't get back until last night. I am absolutely exhausted. We went pretty hard out there. But totally worth it. As I said, recorded a lot of content, absolutely amazing breadth of guests that I talked to. We were set up basically up on the 4th floor. Valkyrie, you might know from the Futures ETF. They're my friends. They let us use sort of their lounge area. And we had a massive schedule, but basically everyone who walked by just started jumping on the couch and recording podcasts. So it was literally like 7:30 a.m. till 5 p.m., 30-minute blocks. And little did we know that at the Miami Beach Convention Center took about 25 minutes to walk across. So our scheduling was completely jacked, but it was fun. It was fun. We had a great time. And I interviewed people from Max Kaiser, who let out a 45-second line of expletives about Elizabeth Warren, the likes that the world has never seen. I'm not sure how we'll print it. Maybe it'll just be one of those beep, 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 boop, beep, bitch, beep, boop, beep, right? And somehow that conversation devolved into the fact that the brand new Miami bull statue out front was not, in fact, a bull because it did not have the proper makeup to be a bull. And the conversation devolved into 5 minutes of how Bitcoin is balls. Right. I also then went on to interview people like John Sally, the 14-foot tall ex-center of the Bad Boys Detroit Pistons, Theo Ratliff, the center of the Sixers. Man, we got around interviews of every single sort. Of course, that meant that I largely missed what was actually happening at the conference, right? Which is fine because you're not allowed to even say the word Ethereum. And so there was 3 days of conversations that were all exactly the same. Exactly the same. From what I've heard, it was just, sort of, I don't even want to say the word. I won't say it. A lot of people talking about the same thing and self-congratulating on how awesome we are over and over again. But there were some big announcements, of course. 3 places you've never heard of that will probably adopt Bitcoin, maybe. And probably that we have Jack Mallers, who announced that Strike will allow you to send money to people, and nobody's going to do it, probably just like nobody used the Twitter function that we were so excited about. Pretty positive. Yeah, I didn't really know I was so negative on it until it all just started spewing out, to be quite honest, but clearly you can see how I feel. But there is, honestly, I think, there were some amazing things. I have to tell you one story that is absolutely incredible. So I'm sitting down to record my first podcast on Friday. And Richard Byworth, you guys have often joked, looks like my twin brother, but with a bigger beard. If you guys know him, he comes running by and he goes, Scott, so I left Diginex and I've been working on orange pilling world leaders. He's like, I've got Macri, the ex-president of Argentina here, and I need Saylor to orange pill him today. Do you think we can make that happen? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I can send the guy a DM, and then I can text Eric, who is sort of his right-hand man I've had on the podcast. So 6 hours later, that happened at Saylor's house in his backyard, and Macri came out literally with his eyes like this. He said, Saylor said, I have 30 minutes. It wasn't Macri. Saylor was like, I have 30 minutes for you. He talked for 29 minutes and 47 seconds. took a picture. Macri walked out wide-eyed and said, "That man is the high priest." Said, "He's the high priest of Bitcoin. I'm convinced. And if I come back to Argentina, we will make Bitcoin legal tender." You heard it here first. If it happens, absolutely crazy. So, guys, that's basically the Miami recap with 1,000 more twists and turns. But you don't want to hear that. I've now been ranting on for like 5 minutes. What you want to hear is why Bitcoin's at $41,000 when we were all super excited when it was at like 46. My light just fell. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's now leaning on the screen super awkwardly and probably going to break my face. But that's fine. So listen, I'm going to bring on my guest right now, Aya Kantorovich. You guys have probably seen her on my podcast. Yeah, you missed Miami, obviously. Let's talk about first the title of this this live stream, that Bitcoin could go to 30,000 by June, according to Arthur Hayes, basically because of its correlation with tech stocks and not fading the Fed. What do you think?
Listen, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? We have the buy the rumor, sell the news with crypto conferences. We've seen that historically with last year. We went from 60K to 30K right before Bitcoin 2021. We saw something similar with this conference. But at a high level, you're seeing Bitcoin trade like a macro asset. And so you're seeing that happen. This is the highest correlation we've ever seen Bitcoin with tech stocks and macro assets, which actually it's a good thing. That's what we wanted. We wanted more institutions to come to the space. We wanted to institutionalize the space. And so they're going to trade it like an asset that they recognize and know. And so what, maybe Arthur or others can't see is all of the continued due diligence of institutions pouring into the space. There's still more capital coming into the space, and Ethereum, foundations, endowments, they're buying Bitcoin first. And so we're still seeing those inflows.
Yeah, I mean, there's endless money coming into this space from institutions. It's almost absurd. Of course, also Arthur literally wrote an article last week saying that Ethereum was going to $10,000, right?
Yeah, so
don't think we can have $30,000 Bitcoin and $10,000 Ethereum. But listen, as investors versus traders, I think we understand that sometimes you go down first before you get there. So I can see how the premises line up. Maybe he's saying a dip until June, and then things kind of continue.
I think it's super dependent too on this ETH 2.0 merge. So it was supposed to happen by the end of Q2 2022. I think there's a rumored announcement supposed to come out today about a delay in that timeline. So we'll see what that does to the price of ETH, and not just ETH, but all of the liquid staking platforms like Lido that have been running up as well into the news on the merge.
Yeah, and you mentioned some institutions and foundations and such coming in, obviously. So this is, I'm going to bring up the little article. Oh, I did hit the wrong button. I'm struggling today. But this was the article, obviously, in Bloomberg about Arthur. But the Luna Foundation Treasury holds now almost 40,000 Bitcoin after the weekend purchase. You're talking about institutions buying. Nobody's a bigger buyer in the market right now than Luna Foundation, right?
Yeah, and they're looking to buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. And so it's significant size. You can't do that all in one day. And so you're going to see them split that up into bits and pieces day by day. And so that order, we saw the market react to that pre the conference, and we're going to continue to see that too. That's additional validation of institutions and foundations diversifying using Bitcoin as that treasury play, even in crypto.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of sort of controversy about how a stable coin should be backed and what this really means, right? So there's a lot of people actually, first of all, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance I see, and I saw it on the ground in Miami where like Bitcoin maxis now want to cheer for Luna, and they aren't sure how they can, right? But then you have obviously this sort of controversy about whether stablecoins should be backed by dollars or whether it's acceptable to have them be backed by other crypto assets. I mean, this is also being backed by Avalanche. People aren't really talking about that, right? But it's not just Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah, you're spot on. And the other thing too is we've seen a lot of interest now in Near, and Near's recent announcement about their algorithmic stablecoin as well. And so you're going to see that similar sentiment pour into Near and their USN stablecoin in terms of whether or not they're going to be able to maintain that peg.
I mean, do we eventually get to a place where just sort of, maybe one, more centrally backed stablecoin and one algorithmic stablecoin sort of win? Or is there enough, volume, liquidity, necessity in this market to have all of these? It's a lot.
It's a lot, and I think it depends on the applications being built on top of them, right? So with, the reason there's so much interest in UST is because of Anchor and the yield you're able to get 20% on Anchor. And so you're seeing similarly, Near's going to launch a very similar yield Vault. And so a lot of interest now in USN. But how long is that yield going to be maintained? How long can they maintain 20? And if they decrease it, what's the interest going to be like, supply and demand there as well too. And so it's I think that's going to be where you see the money flow, but that's also why you've seen so much attraction in the interoperability plays. So like Layer Zero, Stargate, and a lot of these aggregation mechanisms.
So at this point, obviously, we've now seen, if this was related to Miami, then maybe we've seen the sell off, right? It's only Monday. If this is related to stocks and everything else, and we believe that the hawkish Fed is going to continue to dump everything, where are you guys at as far as, I guess you personally can't speak for them, but do you think this starts to become an interesting dip to buy long term? Are you optimistic that we're going to see higher prices this year, or are you feeling super pessimistic like seemingly everybody else?
No, I'm optimistic. And the reason I am is if you look at Q2 of last year, we also thought that we were going through a bear quarter and we saw bull months within that quarter. And so very optimistic about this quarter. We think that, the Fed rates are priced into the market. Now, no macro rates trader. And so obviously if the Fed decides to increase rates, higher than what's been communicated, that's going to have an impact on the macro environment and therefore Bitcoin. Where I think this is different, though, is that you've seen decoupling happen. And so a lot of these layer ones, a lot of the gaming narratives, you're seeing a lot of activity in those. And this ETH 2.0 merge is going to be huge, huge news for us. And so a lot of interest in staked assets and any way to generate yield in this market is still very top of mind.
Yeah, it feels like the big money has no intention of stopping here because of the price.
Yeah, we have not seen that across the desk, no.
But retail volumes have definitely been down. I saw that in India, it was down as much as 72% over the past few weeks, but that's largely because of their law to tax 30%. Did you see that?
Yeah. So again, I think it's going to be the institutionalization of the space and getting more clarity, but it definitely has an impact. Retail in general, is very market movement and momentum news driven, and we just haven't had that market momentum news as much, which is why you've seen volatility drop to historic levels.
It's almost kind of encouraging that we're still sitting around 41,000 as all of this is happening in the world, right? We dumped obviously in December, but it's kind of stayed around that 42,000 level this entire time as we've seen, Facebook drop 30% and, war. And that's and the Fed becoming increasingly more hawkish. So it's almost like even remaining stable feels like it's beating the market to some degree.
This is a narrative that not enough people talk about, and I'm really happy you bring this up because that's exactly it. We've stayed range bound. It's not that, institutions came in, everyone came in and dumped on the market. We're not seeing a recession here in crypto prices. And so the fact that it stayed range bound is very optimistic, given, to your point, everything that's going on right now in the space. Even if you look at PayPal stock or how some of the tech stocks have performed, or even just, tech hedge funds and the returns that they've had, we've seen crypto return far higher. And that's actually one of the other themes that we're seeing is a lot of new venture capital money, hedge fund money, hybrid funds popping up this quarter, last quarter. And that shows that we're still seeing inflows of capital into this space. And so, there today is still that disconnect, as there has always been, between private markets and public markets in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the public markets and token prices may look depressed, you're not seeing that necessarily in some of the private rounds, again, like Layer Zero most recently.
Is there anything you're particularly excited about, coming up through the end of the year? It can't be any more conferences in Miami. We got to stop that.
No. Very tired of the conferences. I am wearing the bear of the conferences, as you are as well. But it's always great to see the industry come together. But they are a marathon, not a race. But I definitely think what's interesting is the liquid staking. Very, very excited for this ETH 2.0 move. I think once we get it to proof of stake, we're going to see a lot of the ESG narratives come up, and it's going to make the ecosystem far more attractive than it already is today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So your Twitter is @_Kantor, KANTOR. Is that correct?
That's me.
Guys, follow her. She is awesome, and we're going to have her back on the show and hopefully the podcast. Although now I think I recorded enough podcasts for the next 14 months.
Sounds like it.
It'd be like, we're going to put like a podcast out in September. It's going to be like, so how's your conference going? It's going to be super irrelevant. So I got to put out a whole lot of content. Well, thank you so much for joining once again. Always
Thank you
awesome
for having
to
me.
have you.
Likewise. Thanks, Scott.
So guys, before I brought Aya on, I was so excited about Miami and all that I didn't even tell you about the sponsor, right? That kind of blew that. But now I have a chance to do it now. You can see it right across the bottom. Look, I'm going the right way. Vauld allows you to invest without stress. I'm sure that most of you have checked it out by now, since I've been talking about it now for 2 weeks. wolfofwallstreets.info/Vauld. They're offering the highest interest rates basically in the SEX, we'll call them. That's with a C, not an S. The central in the or CFI, CFI, centralized finance, 12.68% on stablecoin, 6.7% on Bitcoin, Ethereum. And the thing that I've probably enjoyed the most while I was at the conference, not looking at price at all. I probably looked at a Bitcoin. There was even a huge ticker, but I was on the wrong floor. Every night, people would be like, what's the Bitcoin price? I don't know. Nobody's talking about it. Kind of weird when you're at a Bitcoin conference, but there was zero concern about the price. But I'm testing out their buying the dip feature, which literally automatically buys the dip for you. You just set it at a certain percentage and frequency. And so I've been buying this dip on there automatically, which is super, super awesome. Let's continue on. Go ahead, look at some more news and some charts. Bitcoin, Ethereum slipped to 3-week lows. Yeah, we know. Thanks. Triggering. So much negativity. Why don't you talk about how it's so much higher than 2 years ago? Come on, guys. It's awesome. But yeah, obviously we're seeing both of these at lows for now for all the reasons I just discussed. But I'm going to take a very quick look at the charts, which effectively are useless and tell us nothing and are just fun pictures on paper that give us great reasons to, set stop losses and make ourselves feel like geniuses when things go well, right? Because here you are in the weekly chart. We're like, hey, it's awesome. We're above 45.5, the 50 MA. It's such an important line. We broke above it and dead. Right? Price went right back down, broke below both of those. I had Big Cheds on last week, right? A couple weeks ago, he's like, if we get above 45.5, 83.7% chance we go to 58K, right? Then I brought him back on. I love him. We were above 45.5. He was like, I'm shorting 47, bro. Right? So we all obviously change our bias. He was right. In this case, saying that he thought that it might be a fake out. But as Aya said even before, you can clearly we're range bound here, right? But what's interesting is when we bottomed at 33, we had these two amazing candles. Everybody celebrated. Then we had this ridiculous shooting star and went down, but only for 3 candles, right? Now we have this sort of amazing 2 weeks here, ugly candle here, and 2 down. So let's see if maybe we can get it where this is only a temporary thing. Bottom line is the charts have shown us basically nothing except for that you should avoid trading with leverage at all costs because you're going to get chopped up and be a homeless trader. And homeless traders are really unpopular because they don't always have access to the internet when they need it. But looking at the daily chart here, right? Should have held there? No. Right? This would have been a classic long breaking above 45 here. You would have stopped out probably. No big deal. Right down here. But what's interesting in the midst of all of this is we're still making higher lows. Right? Low. Anything really above, we can call it this sort of 37,204 area right here would make a higher low, which is generally a perfectly fine market structure. It makes these all potentially dips to buy. And of course, the only thing I care about in trading, which is a complete meme. No, but it's kind of what I use. 4-hour bullish divergence, potentially forming right now. We do not have the definitive elbow, but guess what? Yes, this is a very high hit rate, but yeah, let's take a look right here. Look. Oh, that's the wrong color. We got to do them in blue so that you don't get triggered, right? And right here, we had a very clear bullish divergence a couple candles ago, right? These can build, as I always talk about, and that obviously has somewhat failed. But to me, the fact that we confirmed one here said that we were starting to build a bottom, right? You can see that we have a descending pattern here, right? Lower highs, lower lows. That's a generally bullish pattern. And we have bullish divergence once again hitting oversold. I'll be surprised if we're not bottoming. I'm just going to say it. I said it. I said that on Twitter, and people were like, I'm not going to say what names they called me. But they weren't nice. Weren't nice names. But yeah, if we see a very clear, definitive elbow up here, I think we're going up. Ethereum, of course, now alts look shitty, right? We had this period where alts were going up and Bitcoin was going up. It was nirvana. We were in heaven. Everybody was having spontaneous random orgasms, just like you're walking down the street and, feel weird. Not so much anymore. Now we're just getting randomly punched in the face by large men. Just walking down the street and a guy punches you in the face. Yeah, it might just be a relief bounce, but we should bounce. I don't know. Yeah, maybe back up to the 45s, something like that. I'm not saying it's a reversal. And here we are, though, ETH USD, super bearish, but we're sitting on major support, 30,045, right there. Is there other stuff to talk about? Probably. Billionaire David Rubenstein on crypto. The genie is out of the bottle. He's a really big Christina Aguilera fan. He's a genie in the bottle, baby. But honestly, though, my voice is gone. I can't even sing today. I sound like trash. Hot trash, yeah. Someone just said, "Oh no, we suck again." I can't even hear if that played because I don't have my thingy plugged in. Did you hear that? Did it go, "Oh no, we suck again"? Did you hear that? Anyways, billionaire David Rubenstein on crypto. The genie's out of the bottle. This is the billionaire co-founder of the Carlyle Group. Pretty important. And he was previously skeptic and says, "Hey, man, I've not bought cryptocurrencies, but I've bought companies that service the industry because I think the genie's out of the bottle. I don't think the industry is going to go away anytime soon." Yeah, no shit. He was skeptical in the beginning. Now he says, "It's clear to me now that many younger people don't think there's much underlying the dollar or the euro or other currencies." You think? Think he's giving us a lot of credit. Thinks younger people are very smart. But I agree with him. I think he even goes on to say that Jamie Dimon, my God. Earlier this month, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, this is like literally our biggest enemy short of Buffett, praised both DeFi and blockchain technology. Decentralized finance and blockchain are real. New technologies that can be deployed in both public and private fashion, permission or not. Here's the key. JP Morgan remains at the forefront of these innovations. Shut up, Jamie. Shut up. Yeah, we got to rub it the right way, eh? If you got genie in the bottle, baby. Oh, got to rub it the right way. Scott, you're young. I didn't say me. I said they, the young people. No shitcoin charts because A, alts look like buttholes, and B, whatever, man. Yeah. Boo this man, Jamie Dimon. Boo him. And finally, speaking of big institutions that we should probably boo, Goldman downgrades Robinhood to sell amid tough environment for crypto brokerages. Yeah, it's rough out there in these streets. Retail is not that excited. But Hood stock actually up on the day. That was another fake out. That kind of looks like that Bitcoin test. I'm not seeing anything super exciting on the Robinhood chart. Maybe even a bear flag. TBH. Let's see. Hadn't looked at it before the stream. Just opened it in general. I mean, that's not great. We'll see. You definitely want it to hold that support, but otherwise, not much there. How you guys doing? I wasn't there Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Didn't feel like I was missed. I missed you guys, though. Missed you guys. Did you miss me? I missed you. How big staff does Saylor have? Huge. I was at his house again the next day for a barbecue. I've been there actually a few times. So I think he's been on my podcast. He said he owns like 11 boats, but like 5 full-on yachts, right? And every one of those is fully staffed from like 10 down to 3 people. And all those people also work at his estate when it's parked. And then he has, we were eating Wagyu burgers. I was reading George Washington quotes that were on the bar. I was saying happy birthday to Jack Mallers. Everyone was there. It was cool. Everyone was there, but it was only like 30 people, But it's always a pretty crazy experience to be at his house. He has a big staff. It's beautiful. I don't know if I've ever, I did see Jordan Peterson twice. If you, so I used to, when I was, it's an interesting story. When I lived in Miami, Emmy and I used to drive down Collins Avenue, kind of past the Fontainebleau area, you know, right by the beach, and across the water is Pine Tree Drive, which is where all the mansions and yachts and stuff are, which is where he lives part of the time in one of the famous sort of classic mansions there. It's public knowledge. So, and there was this yacht there, like a 200-foot yacht called Usher, and we used to joke that that was probably Usher's yacht, and that one day maybe, you know, we'd get to go on that boat or see it or be rich enough to do something like that. Because I was just kind of like a just getting by sort of DJ. She had owned her internet company, but we were far from being wealthy. And so we would drive by it every day. And that boat became sort of like our aspirational thing. And so fast forward to the Entourage movie comes out, and the first scene, they're partying on this yacht. I was like, that's the yacht. Sly saying I told you this story before. Well, you can tune off. Yeah. And so we're like, cool. And then last time in December, we went to his house, and it's his yacht. And we walked around on it. We got on the yacht. I don't own it. My yacht. Shut up, Sly Fernandez. But yeah, that yacht was not there at that moment. So we were on his twin 80-foot yachts on Saturday. Not too bad. Not too bad. Guys, that's all I got for you today. And now I'm going to do that thing where I move on with my life. Check out Vauld, please. Listen, best way for me to keep making free content, which I will anyways, I'm going to be honest, even if I'm unsponsored, whatever. Okay. Whatever I was going to say is not fully true, because I'm going to make the content no matter what. I made the newsletter free no matter what. It's never going back. Like if you just click on the links for the sponsors, something that I only take sponsors that I think are cool. Yeah, makes them say, hey, maybe people actually will sign up. So that's cool. Did Mike go back to Europe? No, he's now here in Florida. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He hasn't heard the story. Hasn't heard it. Yeah, so check it out. Your viewer count would explode if you did a low cap date. It would, but as you may have heard in the now classic movie Encanto, we don't talk about shit coins. No. We don't talk about shit coins. It's not what I do. Not going to do it. My audience is too big personally for me to feel comfortable going that route. I'm not going to. I know exactly what I need to do to get more people. This and tell you what's going to 100x. Not going to do it. Not my style. I will go ahead and chill here with the whatever 500 of you that are here and enjoy my life without feeling like I'm a sellout or I'm doing something that I can't fully support. Even if I love them. I love shitcoins. Own tons of them. We don't talk about shitcoins. No. Anyways. All I got for you guys today, please check out Vauld. Until the morrow, peace, yo, self.
That's dope.